Hey, welcome back to Good Knit Kisses. I'm your host, Kristen, and I am so glad that you have joined me today. If you are watching on the replay, thank you so much for coming. If it is your first time or not, I'd love to see where you're from. Just be sure and type in. If you have a question you'd like to get my attention for next week, please write replay and write your question. I'd be happy to answer it. So today is about loom knitting. So welcome. Again, I am Kristen. I'm with Good Knit Kisses, and I teach how to knit and crochet online and now live on this video page here on Facebook. And I want you to know that we are going to be doing Q&As on Mondays. Tuesday is loom knitting, Wednesday is knitting with needles and doing yarn features, Thursday crochet, and Friday is social media. And social media day is when I can help you with your crafting business, get to the next level, ask me questions about social media. If you want to know how to do something in particular, that's actually very helpful if you have a very specific question. General questions on how to build your brand and stuff like that are going to be going to have to be more you're gonna have to like narrow it down for me. Hey Ellie, good morning. I'm glad you're here. Y'all give me some hearts and loves and likes, and let me know that you're there. And if you're new, tell me you're new. Write where you're from. I always love that. And anyway, Ellie, you are my regular girl. I am loving seeing you every day. Mwah. So anyway, so today has been a crazy morning. Of course, I'm late. Course, everybody knew I would be because, well, if you didn't know, I dropped off my kids to school today. Yay! They're back in school, and I'm happy, they're happy. One of them was sort of happy, I guess. She'll be fine. She was excited the day before, and now today she's like, ugh. So anyway, I'm really glad you stopped by. I'm going to get on a more regular schedule of getting here. I'm going to try about 8:30-ish as a regular daily Monday through Friday. When I say 8:30, I mean like Central Standard Time, because I'm in Texas, North Texas. So anyway, be sure, and this works really well when you guys chat with me. So in the chat feature, use your thumbs or use your keyboard and type in questions or whatever you want to say, and I'd be happy to chat with you. Today we're going to talk about loom knitting, so let's jump in and get started. I've got my book again, so you can ask me a question that I can refer to the book or other questions for loom knitting. I also have references to some free patterns for you today. And if you've caught me at all last week, be sure and go back on the Q&A Monday. I talk more about the pink missions, and today is the last day I'm going to talk about that for a while because Tammy Anderson, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Tammy. Happy birthday to you. Woo woo. Gotcha. So, I'm so glad you joined me. I am excited you're here. Yes, wish her happy birthday, everyone. And, sorry. Okay, back to Pink Mission. Okay, so I talked about it last week, and I'm going on a mission trip. I am receiving shawls and scarves, beautiful things that you would like to send to the ladies, and hopefully not children, but there could be children. So I've got some cutesy things for the kids. Sharona Wilson sent some beautiful things. I'm waiting on like 14 things from another girl. There's some shawls. Elizabeth Ham sent me some stuff. Anyway, there's some more stuff. I need to like write out a whole thank you list. So... Aw, I'm so glad you're here, Tammy. I love you. Robin, good morning. Hey, girl. You must be saying happy birthday to Tammy. Okay, so, hey, y'all, give me a shout out and let me know you're here. Sometimes, like if I'm friends with you, I think that's when it tells me someone is coming on, but it doesn't always tell me, hey, Teresa, good morning. Hey, and y'all give me some hearts and loves and likes, so and let me know you're out there. Okay, so the Pink Mission, I'm going on second weekend of October, so I'm kind of hoping that by the 1st of October, people will start sending the rest of them. I'm making a shawl. Oh my goodness, I left it upstairs. I started doing a beaded silk. I've got this silk yarn. It cost me I think it was like $26. Beautiful mulberry silk with beads on it. And I have been saving it actually for a couple of years, and it's been sitting on my desk, and I stare at it every day, and I'm like, I know this is for someone. I love it, and I love to stare at it and look at it and touch it delicately. But I decided I'm going to use that skein, and I'm going to make that a shawl for someone special on this mission trip. So I don't know who it's going to, but it's going to someone, and I love it. I'm actually creating a pattern from it because I'm like, wow, I'm going to make a new thing for her. It's going to be totally unique for her. So I can't wait to give it to her, whoever that is. So anyway, I'm receiving those things, and then if you want to hear more of my heart on the subject, you can go back to some of the Q&A from last week. Yeah. Hey, Ellie. And it's on needles. I'm not doing it on the loom. I'm doing it on needles. It's pretty simple pattern that I'm doing. I'm kind of sprucing up one that I've done before. It's just kind of a yarn over increase, but then I'm adding some other in between. So it'll be triangular in nature. Where am I going? Okay. It has to do with rescuing women from the sex trafficking industry, human trafficking, but these are being trafficked for sex. Usually that's what it's for. And so I'm not comfortable revealing the location, but it is, sorry, bad connection. I had to reconnect. Sorry. It is within a few hours of me. Anyway, it's in my state or a neighboring state within a few hours. How's that sound? Is that vague enough? So what I did is, because I don't want to jeopardize their location. I don't know the sensitivity of the thing until I go. So I know it's like a level 2, I believe. It was what they call it. So where they're rescued and then they're just trying to kind of rehabilitate and just love on the women and that kind of thing. And so I'm going to bring them things that'll show them love and that someone cares for them, even if they don't know them. A stranger did this to them, but a stranger also can love and care for them. So if you would like to help me get the message out to them, please send it to me. And if I have too many, I'm taking them anyway because they'll have more people. And so as I get them, I will take them with me. If they fall over the hump of not making it in time, that's fine. I will, I'll save them up and then send them another shipment. That's totally fine. So, you never Facebook when you're not home. I totally get it. Their safety is a priority. Yeah. I don't get the first part, but yes, their safety is a priority. So, you can't wait for tomorrow. Yes, the needle knitting tutorial is tomorrow. So anyway, okay, so I'm going to go back to this. So, thank you, Teresa. Thank you. Yeah, it's a ministry, and depending upon you are, your outreach, may not be ministry to someone verbally, but maybe you have a hard time talking. Maybe that's just not your thing, but you can work with your hands. You can bless another person, whether you are religious or spiritual or not. You can still bless another person. And by the way, I don't care what you are. I love you. You're a human being and you are worthy of being loved and cared for. So I don't care if they're a Christian or not. I'm still going to love on them, even if they spit in my face. I don't care. So, but I do want them to know that someone cares out there and what happened to them is not okay. So there we go. So, loving all the hearts and stuff, y'all. Thank you. Oh, you don't want your peeps to not know you're home? Yes, when you're out and everything. I had someone watching my house last week, so I was okay with people knowing I was out of town, but most of the time I don't do that. So I'll tell you after the fact. Okay, sorry. Squirrel distraction. Okay, I'm going to get to the pattern. So you have to go to the event page. So if you're on my regular Good Knit Kisses page, go to the events for Good Knit Kisses. There's only one event. So just click on that. It's for the trafficking one for pink. It should say Pink Missions. And anyway, there's one pattern in there that I bumped. It's by Jennifer Stark and it's for loom knitting. And then I'm going to tell you, and I just posted the links in there, but I'm going to tell you a little bit more about her pattern. And then the other 3 are really mine. And then you can pick anybody else's loom pattern. The reason why I'm giving you these is because They're free. Either you can download them or you can view them online for free. And then, then you can get an idea of the yarn and the kind of weight and the weather. Really it's for more like a weather thing to make sure that, and I want it to be pretty. And some of them are simple, some of them are kind of airy looking, you know, with yarn overs and stuff. Anyway, so Jennifer Stark, some people know her as Jenny Stark, she has something called the 25th Street Stole, and it's beautiful. It's also free is great. Well, I don't feel comfortable. I mean, hey, buy my pattern if you want to. Yes, I would love to sell my book. I'd love to sell patterns. But this is also a ministry thing. I want to keep it free, you know? And yeah, weather thing. Like, so I don't want it too heavy, you know, like, so if I'm going to send something to Minnesota, I'm going to make it heavy, right? But if you're going to have something kind of near me in Texas where the weather can get like over 100 degrees and someone still wants something pretty at night to go out or whatever, then I want them to feel pretty, but not feel like, you know, I can't wear this thing. So have I used t-shirt yarn and how did it turn out? Yes, I will talk about that in just a second, Bernadette. I have. Okay, so Jennifer's pattern, 25th Street Stole, it's on Ravelry. It's a beginner plus pattern. It uses DK weight or 8-ply yarn. She used 270 yards, 2 balls of Neuro, and I forgot to write the rest in the thing, but it's on there. So 270 yards. I'm sorry, I didn't write the meters down. And it is using a, most everybody has a loom like this, a 36 peg large gauge loom. She used a Nifty Knitter, so it's one of those like 3/4 inch centered peg to center peg measurement. So a Nifty Knitter or a boy loom that's the wider spacing. And you know, you could use the 40 peg or a 41 and just only go up to the 36 pegs if you want. You could use a knitting board 3/8 and then skip every other peg. You might have to mark them or something. So, oh, thank you, Joan. Yay, thank you, Joan, for converting it for me. I was in such a hurry. Oh my gosh. So I went and dropped off the kids, and then I'm the treasurer of the PTA, which I kind of did that just so that they had a board this year, because they were like, Kristen, if you don't do it, no one else is. So anyway, so I had a last minute meeting with the vice president, principal of the school, and the VP today. So anyway, I'm super late and did not convert stuff. Okay, so Dewdrop Shawl is mine. So anyway, check out the pattern from Jenny Stark and make one for yourself while you're at it, or a friend, or for Christmas. But it's a really cute pattern. People love it. She has a picture on a teen, I think. And anyway, but it's a flat panel work back and forth. Okay, so the 3 from me, and you may have done them before, the Dewdrop Shawl, the Spring Vine Infinity Scarf, and then the Pico Triangular Shawl. Now the Dewdrop is super simple. Like once you start going, it's really simple. Now there's some, there's a video with it too. There's some holding pegs, and you kind of have to make sure that you kind of drop a few and leave a few on there, and then you'll see that when you see the video. But the only thing complicated about it can be the bind off. And I would encourage you, if that scares you just for the bind off, then what you can do is, because there's these big loops at the back of the peg. Let me see if I have my, sorry, hang on, let me get a loom. Okay, so this is the loom that I used, and you can even use their 28-inch loom that's really long. But so what it does is you're knitting on the front of the board, and then it kind of stretches to the back and holds a few of those long drops, and then it goes to the front again. So if you're like, I don't know how to finish this off, use a slip knot bind off, which is what I've got, or you could even bind off the 3 here and then just cut a knot and tie it off, or you can do a drawstring bind off for those 3 and then cut it off and tie it off and then go all the way down. And you could even like add fringe to those ends there and finish them off that way, and then you have this nice fringe at the bottom of your shawl, and it would be beautiful, and then you wouldn't have to worry about doing the bind off, and that would actually make it really simple. So Hope that helps. And then the Spring Vine Infinity scarf is super easy. It's got drops as well on it. There's 3 sections of drops. You could make it even longer, and then if you make it shorter, it's more like a cowl. I have instructions for a Spring Vine Infinity cowl if you're interested in that. They're all on Ravelry. I've got the links in the event page right now. You can really use any kind of, oh, I'm sorry, back to the stole that Jenny did. If you have like a color changing yarn, you know, where it like moves in color and stuff. Hey, Carol, good morning. If you see Good Knit Kisses commenting, it's Carol today. And anyway, so the stole looks really pretty with the color changing yarn. If you can get one that's the entire amount, the 270 or the 250 meters, 270 yards, then I would just use one color changing. That would be beautiful. The Dewdrop looks well in a very smooth yarn, one that doesn't get hung up on stuff, and I like one with a little bit of sparkle. So you can do really anything though. I used a sock yarn on one, and that looked cute too, but I would do one that has maybe a bit of a sheen. So if you have a sock yarn with sheen, it may not go as long. I can't remember how many yards are on there and how many yards the Dewdrop takes. Hang on, let's see. I think I've got it up. The Dewdrop takes 200 to 300 yards, or 183 to 274 meters. So I used a ball and a half, but depending upon what you've got, you might have a ball that goes the whole way. Okay, and then the Spring Vine, I used a thick and thin, like where it goes from like a very thin to like a thicker roving and stuff. Good morning, Connie. Did I miss some other good mornings? I should have said hello. Joan, did I say hello? I told you thank you. And Bernadette, good morning. Carrie, good morning. I'm going back. I'm sorry. I normally like to say hi to you ladies. And men, if you're a man on here, give us a shout out. Anyway, okay, so the Spring Vine Infinity scarf, let me go click on that one. That one is, that's using a bulky weight yarn. It was a 12 ply. So if you're going by plies, what else can I tell you? I did it on the Martha Stewart loom. You can do it on other looms. The most frequent question I get on that, I'm going to do a little Q&A on this one. The Spring Vine Infinity scarf. That one, you can do it on anything, really. Just, I mean, you could do it on here. Whoa, sorry, I'm hitting my lamp. Not good. Good morning, Jane. So you could make it on here. It's just a continuous circle, so you would move the slider back. But it's only going to be the diameter that this is if you're making it in a circle. Now you could make it vertically and it's still a drop, you know, scarf, and then you would connect the ends, but it looks different. So otherwise you're going to have these really pretty, do y'all want me to show a picture of this? I can show my screen real quick. Let me pull a picture up so you can see it. Let me get a bigger window here. Okay, well, I can't make it any bigger. Let me flip the screen. All right, do y'all see that? So this is the Spring Vine Infinity scarf, and then it's got these long drops on it. So, sorry, I just wanted you to know what I was looking at. That was kind of a weird spot, but anyway, I originally made that for my mother-in-law, and she adored it. But I have made it on the long loom, the Nifty Knitter. The longest one I think is blue, and then with like a lighter weight, and that was really good. So I have an Infinity cowl that's made a little bit longer, and that works really well. The other thing, the slouchy that I'm trying to remember the name of it. Carol, if you can help me remember. There is a slouchy to match. If you wanted to make a matching slouchy. When I originally made it, Louisa, if you got to see her last Thursday, she was hysterical, by the way, in our little local yarn store shop that we toured and Colorado. Anyway, Louisa, she's my sister-in-law. So my husband and her husband are married. And anyway, she made this slouchy hat. Gosh, what is the name of it? Anyway, she had bugged me for a while. She was like, you need to make a matching hat. I'm like, you make the matching hat. So she has a video. So if you look for Joy for Craft, she has a video and pattern on that. But it actually was made to match it. And then Christina, oops, let me fix the thing. Christina Fasula, she has a similar one as well. And they're both really cute and they both knit up fast. And anyway, I can't find it. Okay, so the next one I was going to tell you about is the Pico Triangle Shawl. Now the Pico Triangle Shawl is going to be more of an intermediate level just because of the cast on and the bind off, but essentially it's just knits and purls. You're doing a garter stitch through it, but you do have some wrap and turns, some short rows. Good morning, Susan. Good to see you this morning. So if anyone, raise your hands with thumbs up if you have made the hexagon blanket. Let me know. Have you made the hexagon blanket? Give me a thumbs up or write hexagon. All right, everybody put it in now. Go. Do 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 do. If you haven't made it, aha! 1, 2, 3. I see some threes, unless it was one person. Go on. Sadly, I haven't yet. This is like when people read bad Twitters. Like sometimes I want to read your comments and be like, sadly, I haven't yet. Nope. Darn it. Y'all need to make one. All right, okay, you're gonna be out of excuses. Everybody have a 12 peg bloom loom? Do you have a 12 peg flower loom? Got one of those? All right, so you can pull up the video. Carol can punch in the thing, or I'll punch it in later, the link. But if you go on there and you can get get 2 or 3 strands of cotton and do it with me. Yes, Mom. Yes, very good. Yes, yes. This is your homework today. This is your loom knitting homework. I want you all to go and do this. I'm actually giving you an assignment. And I want y'all to post. Can I give you an assignment? Okay, I'm gonna be serious. You have an assignment today. Then when you do it, and you can take all week, you have all week to finish your homework. Okay. Next week on Tuesday, before Tuesday, y'all come to my page and post and say homework. And I want you to make it, because if you grab, if you have some scrap cotton, if you'll get 3 strands, I think it's gonna take 3 strands, 3 strands of cotton, and make it out of cotton with the 12 pegs exactly how I show you on the video. I know I said I'm talking about a shawl. You'll see why in a second. But if you will make the 3-strand cotton version of what I do a small trivet thing. And if you'll do that, you can make it as a trivet. It'll work as a washcloth or whatever in your kitchen. You can use it. You can use it for a face cloth, whatever. This will be a good learning thing. And then you take the tools that you use for that, and then you can make it on a 36 peg Nifty Knitter or Boy or whatever, or Hobby Lobby, Michael's loom that you want that has the 3/8, not this guy, not this little thing. By the way, this is the new Boy loom. I probably have the wrong color because this is like a test one, but it's the one that has half the pegs and 36 pegs. Anyway, you do the same technique on there, and then you can make your little hexagon. Now, if you make it with 3/8, I think it actually adds an extra wedge. So anyway, y'all have your homework assignment. Okay, so back to the shawl. Here's the deal with the shawl. So, and the hexagon. So it's made in wedges. So on the hexagon, you're making a wedge, and then you make another wedge, and another wedge, another wedge, and it goes all the way around until you have this octagon, right? So on the shawl, you're making one wedge, one wedge. The only difference is it's on a big scale. It's gonna have 168 stitches because it's on the big 28-inch knitting board. If you don't have that, that's okay. If you have an S loom, one of those S looms, infinity Afghan kind of looms from Cindywood looms, from Knitting Board, a Serenity loom, you can do the same thing. Just use an appropriate yarn weight or double your yarn, and then you can make it. You make this little wedge back and forth, back and forth. So on the triangular shawl, you can use a triangular. Thank you. Thanks for the link, Carol. Good morning, Barb from Ohio. Well, it's morning for me. I don't know what time it is for you. So the, what was I saying? Oh, okay. So the triangular shawl, it's the Pico triangular shawl. Now, here's the catch. If you don't like the little cutesy pink picos, and you know what? Do y'all want a picture of the shawl? Let me find a picture of the shawl. Let me get a picture, and I'm going to see if I can get my camera. I'm going to take my camera down and just show you this one. Okay, see these pretty picos along the edge here? All right, and then let's see if we can click on another picture. There we go. Isn't that pretty? You see the little pretty picos going up and down? You see the picos? Okay. Hi, we're back. So I just wanted you to see the Pico shawl. So the cast on, you actually cast on with a Pico cast on. If you don't want Picos, don't. Just do like a chain cast on. Okay, a chain cast on is a nice soft cast on. It's tight, but it's not rigid. So a chain cast on, and then you could do the chain one bind off. So whenever you do the bind off, when I say, oh, okay, now we're gonna do the bind off, you actually end up binding off slowly every time you get to this one end, and you're binding off with picos to finish it out. And so when you do that, hi, it's okay, you're late. Welcome, Patty. Oh, thanks for the link for the shawl, Carol. And then I also put it on the event page too. So yeah, we'll put them in here, and then we'll put them on the event page, and then it'll be good. So anyway, but as you're binding off, you can just either use a basic bind off if you're more comfortable with that, a flat panel bind off, simple bind off, they're all the same thing. And then just don't do the picos. But I personally love the picos. They add that extra fun edge. And if you ever want to add picos to a project, okay, so now we're kind of done with talking about those free patterns. Let's just talk about picos for a second, or edgings. If you ever want to add an edging, or just an extra flare or something, and you don't know how to crochet, you can take your square, panel, rectangle, whatever, and hang onto the pegs. You can put your knitting back onto the pegs. Just let it fall in like it's normally being knit, and just put the edge right along on the pegs. And then you're basically cast on already, so you can put a slip knot on the first one, and then lift the bottom of the top, and that's your first knit stitch. It locks it on. You can then actually bind off from there, so you can actually start your bind off on your first peg like that, and start doing a picot bind off and add it to something. Oh, you lost me? Oh, I'm sorry. Well, I didn't get that it stopped, so maybe you might have to go back. I'm sorry. But I'm saying that basically you can hang back on something. So like I have a pattern for a mitered square, which is basically, it starts off with doing this triangle. I usually do it in the same yarn as the Picot shawl, but it starts off with the wedge, and then you finish it. And then after you're done, you can go back and hang the edges on, and then do a Picot bind off, simply by putting the edge on, doing the bind off, taking it up, turning it, putting it back on, doing a bind off. And so you're adding the edge as you go. If you know how to crochet, then I would just add it by crochet, honestly, unless you want the knit look. So anyway, that's how you add an edge. That's one way to add an edge. You can add edges in different ways. So anyway, I hope that helps you guys. Does that help anyone? Bueller? Let's see, we're about 11 o'clock. Ah, had to reconnect. I'm sorry. I must have to check my Wi-Fi. So I hope you guys are still there. If you like those patterns today, give me some hearts and some love, and let me know. If you would like to see anything from the book, please let me know, and I can do that. If you'll say book, it'll let me know. Yuppers. What is yuppers? Oh my gosh, I'm getting like a ton of hearts and love. Oh my gosh, that was really fun. It makes me go, was that backed up or was that all for the book? That must be for the book. What do y'all want to see? Oh, more hearts and love. Here's the Pico bind off. Thanks, Carol. Book. All right. What do we want to talk about? This is totally unprepared because I dropped the kids off at school today, so I did not prepare. I am so sorry. Good morning, Lucy. You cannot find the event info. Please say it again and where to find it. Oh, sorry. Thank you. If you go on the Good Knit Kisses page, you can click on events. If you're on a browser, like a desktop version of a browser, go on the left-hand side. It's opposite for me here. So you go on the left-hand side and you look down, it says events. And then you're going to click on events and there's just one and you're going to click on that. It should say like October 1st or something. And then, what else? If you're on a mobile device, it looks a little different. Oh, I can't check for my phone. It was for something else, forgot now. Oh, squirrel. Okay. I have my book right here. I haven't forgot, y'all. Anyway, I think there's a way to click on events for that page. So you'll have to check, or we'll see if we can find a link and put it in here for later, I think. Anyway, okay. Yay, found it. Yay. Okay, good. Woohoo. What else? What can I tell y'all about? So let's talk about, you want to talk about charts? Charts? Anybody want to talk about charts? Anyone? Bueller? All right, I'm flipping. Hold on. We talked about, if you want to go back and look at the video, we talked about cast-ons, and I showed different examples a couple weeks ago. Bernadette says, I loomed 2 pieces and want to join them together, but don't want to sew them. Can I put both pieces on the loom and bind them off? Hopefully I'm explaining this right. Yes, you can. It froze. Okay, I'm sorry, Tammy. I don't know. Hopefully the replay won't be frozen. You are explaining that right. Was that Bernadette? Yes, that was Bernadette. I do have a pattern that actually does that. I've got on the other side. The boy loom knit. I taught myself how to loom knit little thing with the small little boy loom, and I have that in a book. I actually do that on a fingerless mitt. And because I did it like this garter ridge thing, I actually had that implemented as part of a feature to the thing. So you put it back on and then you did a bind off, and it actually sort of makes a little bit of a rib. And so depending on what you're doing, that could be hidden on the inside or a feature on the outside. You can also put them together and do a technique for a Kitchener stitch. So if you want to do a Kitchener stitch, you can loop all the stitches from a loose piece of yarn and then go back and join them together. You can do it like aid you in making a mattress whip stitch. There's a couple of different ways to do it. Anyway, oh, Tammy, you're back. I guess you logged back on and off to see if it works. Sorry, Tammy. I don't know. It cut me off earlier, but I can't tell when it does it for someone else. The network and stuff in live video, it just doesn't always work. So I'm not sure if anyone said charts. Okay, yeah, try that. Okay, so let me go to, I'm gonna do this chart because it's really easy to see. So I'm gonna have to move my camera so you can see it. Let me move my keyboard and get ready. Hopefully I'm not too crazy close to the camera right now. And yeah, you'll have to, oh, I'm still frozen. You can probably hear me then. I'm sorry. All right, I'd sing the Frozen song, but we don't want to. Okay, bye, Carol. Thanks for joining. You have a good day. All right, let's flip the camera. All right. All right. Let me see. I'm going to have to come out of the... Okay, hang on. Let me unplug my camera so that's in the way. You know what? Sorry, y'all. Hold on. Hold on, sorry. I'm gonna fix it. Okay. All right, I'm going to do this by hand. If it's too shaky, let me know. I'll have to do a different setup next time. Okay, so this is the book right here. I'm on page 20 if you have it. I'm looking at the flat knitting chart. And I can do this, y'all. I'm just going to say copyright reasons. I can produce this and do this because I'm giving myself permission. But please don't do this with my book or copy the pages or any other author. That would be not a good thing. Okay, so the following chart is an example and I'm doing knits and purls because that's easier. And then you always want to look at the charts because people's symbols can be different. My software allows all my purls to have this dashed line, and so if it's blank, it's knit. Oh, sorry, Ellie. Okay, so I want you to remember that your first stitch starts at the bottom row on the very first stitch to the right. The pattern is to be worked as a flat panel. So I'm going to come down here. So like see right here where I've got this big nice chart here. Oh, it was you. Okay. This chart right here, if I go down to the bottom, I'm going to find my first row, which is 1. Now you're like, but I don't knit upside down. Okay, well then I want you to imagine that you have a loom here, okay? And so when I start, I have nothing, right? And like this little line would be my cast on. Okay, now as I knit, it starts doing this, okay? So my first stitch is actually here, and it spits out, and that's a knit. And then when I purl, it's the next one. So like I'm gonna look at my key. This is a knit stitch, and this is a purl, K or P. Now in any loom knitting pattern, I'm gonna flip it. Hold on. So if you were looking in a knit pattern, then a knit is a knit is a knit. But when you're looking in a loom knitting pattern, read the directions, read the notes. You gotta read, and then sometimes you might want to look at the picture and study it. If it seems like the knitting is not, sorry, I'm trying to hold it steady. If it seems like the knitting is very flat and smooth and looks like little V's, then it's a standard knit, or you can do a U-knit, or what some people call a reverse purl. So you can do the reverse purl or the knit, or you can make a U-knit, which make it kind of loose. If it's kind of bumpy and it looks sort of Y-shaped, then they've used an E-wrap. So anyway, let me, the other thing is, oh, sorry, Tammy. You'll just have to check it back later. I'm so sorry, sweetie. And it's her birthday too. I'm sorry. Sorry it's shaky. I'm kind of holding it before I flip it back. For anybody who needs me to read my lips, I know my sister-in-law has to do that. So that's why I'm putting on my face right now. But gosh, what was I going to tell you? I got distracted. Squirrel. I'm sorry, y'all. The E-wraps, sometimes someone might say all the knits are E-wraps, or all the knits are flat, or all the knits are this. And so it might be that their chart or their pattern is written, it says knit, but that every time you do it, they actually want you to E-wrap. So they just call it out in the beginning. So read your pattern every time. The reason why I say that is it can have a big effect on how it looks and how it works up size-wise. So anyway, or a technique that you need later. Like sometimes people will do where you knit everything, but then certain stitches are E-wrapped. And that's because maybe you're going to unwork it, like you're going to flip it around and use the extra length that's added whenever you E-wrap, because an E-wrap can be a bigger stitch. And maybe they're going to be used for a cable on the next row. So that kind of thing. Sorry, Tammy. Yeah, I know. Old computers are duds. Okay, so not that mine's new either. Okay, so the one is going to start on this bottom right, and then you work your way here. So like my first stitch would be a knit. If I want to look at the written version of the pattern, you look at row 1. This is row 1. See how it says K1? That means knit 1. If I had 2 blank squares next to each other, then it would say K2. So the next one right here is a purl, and it says it on my written one here. Now you don't always get a written and a chart, but I'm doing this here so you can kind of see where it lines up. If you move to the next row, see how it alternates? So now the next row would alternate this way. So Oh, I just saw it jump there too, y'all. Sorry if you're having problems. But basically, it just kind of keeps moving. One tip is to take a piece of paper that's like one of those Post-it notes, and leave it posted right here. And when you're done with that row, you could leave it there, or if you're starting the row, you could move it up, and maybe you can like circle the one you left off on. And so you'll have to make sure like right on the side, a circle equals I haven't done this, but it's my next stitch, or something like. So, sorry, I skipped again. Okay, so notice that how there's an even number of rows. Oh, and also like when I'm going back and forth, see how like the row is on the right side, but then when I start the next one, it starts here. This is 2, and it goes back and forth, and 3. And so if it was circular, it would be here, because I would go all the way around, and then it would meet back up and then start here. So that's kind of how that's written. And then what else to tell you? Trying to give you some quickie stuff without saying everything. And I don't want to read this thing. It can be boring. Y'all ask me questions if you have questions. What else can I tell you? But chart reading, a lot of it is like reading the chart, reading all the notes first. And I learned something. Marley Bird, if you don't know who Marley Bird is, she has this thing called the Yarn Thing podcast. She's got a YouTube channel now, and she does knitting and crochet. She's a written, published author. And one of the things she did, I took a cable class from her last year, and she said she colors her chart. Especially where cables are concerned, like if it's going to the right leaning or the left leaning or whatever, she actually colors her chart, and she colors the instructions in her chart or the key the same color, and it makes it easier. If there's no indication of which knit stitch, E, flat, U, etc., which should we use, that's when then I go to the picture, and or any pictures, especially if it's on Ravelry and other people have made it, I go and check that out. But see if you can look at the picture and see if you can tell if it's a very smooth laying it down, or if it's kind of bumpy, like more Y-shaped. If you can't tell, a classic knit stitch is a good way to do it, or like a U knit. But I mean, if it's something that you want a little stretch to, maybe it's a sweater or something. I mean, you can also, especially if they have gauge, if they have the gauge written and it says, oh, this is many stitches per inch and blah, 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 then sorry, I would recommend making a sample, a swatch. A lot of knitters, you know, good designer will give you that so that you can make a sample and know that, okay, I'm right in the line of where I need to be, or you need to adjust either your stitch, or you need to adjust. For needle knitting, it's more adjusting like the needles or the yarn, but for loomers, if you're using the same stitch and you're using the same yarn and the same loom, then your chances are that you're going to be okay. It's just your tension might be a little too tight. Definitely not. I wouldn't use the flat knit unless they tell you flat. I never use the flat unless I'm told the flat. Socks, I'll use the flat. That's the only one that I'll do that on. But U-knit stitch usually is what I'm going to use instead of the reverse purl, because I don't like the reverse purl. And if you are told to do the reverse purl, which is technically the knit stitch, and you don't want to do it, then you want to make the U stitch and then kind of tug on it a second. Yeah, flat is tight. Flat is way too tight. It's usually used if you're trying to get something tight. Like the socks is totally fine, because you want a tight knit, right? You don't want any holes in your sock. You certainly don't want it in between your stitches. You want a nice smooth surface. If you need to know what a technical knit stitch looks like, look at a pair of socks, because they're going to show you that uniform flat V shape. And unfortunately, most loom knitters get, well, okay, if I talk about loom knitters in like on a grand scale, everyone who loom knits, who may not even call it loom knitting, but they know it's on this little round thing, most everybody's going to knit a E-wrap stitch, and they may consider it a knit stitch. And there's a lot of old patterns out there, and they don't all say E-wrap, or they don't say the other. Also, little trivia, if you see SS, Usually it's not slip stitch because SL is usually slip, but SS also means simple stitch, which is a single stitch. It's like one stitch, and it's actually usually an E-wrap. Not usually. Well, it can be both, so you really have to check. But anyway, I'm sorry. I talked a lot about that, but really the photo is really important because you can tell. So, what else? What else? Yes, and the E-wrap is very stretchy. So if you're a new loom knitter, just so you know, if you don't like stretchy and openness to your yarn, you don't like seeing through it, you're like, this is too gappy, and whatever, you can change it to an U-wrap or a reverse purl, or you can get more strands of yarn. But also, if you still like the E-wrap, you can do a double stitch, which is, and some people call it I don't know if they call it the chunky braid, but anyway, you wrap it one more time, wrap the loom one more time, and then do 1/2. So you lift the bottom loop over the top 2 loops on the loom. So you've gone 3 revolutions all the way around, and then you lift the bottom of the top. It leaves you with 2, right? So all the next times you just wrap it one time and then lift 1/2, 1/2, 1/2 all the way around, and keep doing it that way. That will close that in if you still like the E-wrap. Because there are a lot of times people have to use E-wrap because of their dexterity issues, and they need to use the little yarn guide, and maybe they want to make hats for people, and they have to use the 36 peg loom because it's all they can afford, and that's okay. But maybe you were donated a whole bunch of worsted weight yarn, and like, I need to use this worsted weight yarn, but on this large gauge peg, it does not work for me. I would say use the double stitch. If you're able to do a purl, or we need to try a purl, even if you're one-handed, you can do it. I have a video on how to purl one-handed. I show with the right and the left. So it takes a little longer, but if a quadriplegic can do it, so can you. She actually had minimal use of her hand, and a really cool testimony today because now she is actually walking. So her name is Vanessa Sizemar. So if you know her, hello, Lori Lambert in North Carolina, welcome. So glad you're here. I would love to have Vanessa on. Back to Vanessa though, I would love to have her on someday. She is in Austin. I would love to drive out and meet her. But several years ago, she and her now fiance, her boyfriend at the time, I'm not sure if they were newly engaged, but they hit a cow on their way back from a concert, and she became a quadriplegic overnight. And met up her on Facebook a few years ago, and she had a minimal use of her hand, and I ended up talking to her on the phone. We had a little video conversation, and I was trying to help her loom in a better way, and he had kind of rigged up something on her chair, and it was so encouraging and inspiring to me to see what someone who really wants to do something the links they'll go to. So anyway, but you can purl. So anyway, it's very inspiring. Yeah, she's using this thing. Oh, what are the name of the bands? She's using these Primal 7. She's using a system called Primal 7. I'm going to plug this thing. I'm just going to tell you about it because it is so cool to see her. They're like these bright green bands. It's from this company. Primal 7 is the name of the bands. And it saved her hours and hours of therapy because they were driving and going to therapy and then having to drive back. And so now she has this in-home kind of thing, and she's been getting therapy at home, and they had some training set up and everything, and but he helps her. Her fiance helps her. So pretty inspiring story. I think she was like going for Mrs. Wheelchair Texas or something, and she was like a runner-up or something. It was pretty cool. She was in like that chair. I'm not sure if she still uses the chair or not, but she was in that chair that kind of stands up like Superman kind of chair. And anyway, so Vanessa is pretty amazing. So anyway, what else? If y'all have any questions, I'll answer your questions now. I think I better cut the broadcast to a close now. If you want to look more at the book, there is more in the book about reading charts and have a lot more riveting examples rather than just that simple one. That was just doing a seed stitch to show you an example. I've got, a double one in there, and then I've got another one that has like some pyramids. These right here, this pyramid stitch chart, and you can do homework. I actually write on there homework 1 and 2, and then a stitch conversion chart in there. There's a whole bunch of things. So if you want one, I've got the ebook, or then the hard book is available too. So back to that. And then there are tips on my website too for most all those things. There are smaller stories on that and examples. So anyway, you made it late, Andrea. Oh, I'm so sorry. You have to go back. Go back. Watch it again. Yeah, you have a great day too, Aunt Tammy. Hopefully you'll be able to watch it again. I'll sing happy birthday to you all over. So there you go. What else? I did want to say, if you're going to do the loom knitting homework, I will be so proud of you. Please post your work on the Good Knit Kisses page, not the club page, but on this page here. And there is a way that you can go in and I can see visitors posts and stuff. I would love if you guys post your work here. And then, man, if you have something you're really proud of that you want me to share, please post it. I'll share it with everybody. So, and like if you have a handle on there, like your business page or whatever, you know, like your crafty page, like if you sell your crafts, you know, locally, please let me know. I love to kind of brag on you. So, and y'all tag me on Instagram and stuff too, because I love that. I love to see y'all. I'm on there, and then of course we're on Pinterest and everything. So homework, yes, homework. It's for people who haven't done the octagon. The hexagon. Is it octagon? Hexagon blanket. Oh my gosh, I think I said octagon earlier. Anyway, it's a hexagon with 6 wedges, but it becomes an octagon for some people when they do the 3/8 loom. Look at me, I'm rattling on as usual. Anyway, okay, well, thank you guys for joining me at Good Knit Kisses. And tomorrow, if you want to learn how to needle knit, I will be having a training. So reminder, if you want to do that, get a number 5 bulky yarn, super bulky yarn, bulky, and a number 15 needle, or you can get a lighter weight and a smaller needle, that's fine too. And thanks, Bernadette. And so yeah, I'm going to show you how to cast on. We're going to do a knit stitch. We're going to do a purl stitch. It's going to be a long broadcast. You're going to be seeing mostly my hands. Get ready to listen to the Kristen. I might sing some tunes in between while we're working some stitches. And yeah, you have a great day too. Y'all send me out with some hearts, please. And some love and some likes. I love it. It makes me feel so good. Anyway, y'all have a great day. I will see you tomorrow for knitting. Have a wonderful day. Bye. Hey, hearts. Okay, bye.